Hello viewers, Super GT here. Okay, we've had update 1.55, which has brought...
What is up, guys? And welcome back to a brand new video. We're on Gran Turismo Sport once again. It's been a couple of days since I've been on this game. Well, I've been on it actually quite regularly over the last few days. I've been building up a lot of footage, which you guys are all going to see now. This is about 6-7 hours worth of footage, all crammed down into 30 minutes. And today we are going to grind for a driver rating. So away we go for our first race. We do daily race A, B, and C in said video, and this is all in an attempt to, just continue to expand my knowledge about, how to get the most out of this game. So, as the title suggests, this, whole set of races was a big turning point in my Gran Turismo career. But I guess it doesn't happen until maybe a couple of races after. But this gives you a little bit of context, just showing these first couple of races. This is daily race A, which is a single make one around the Tsukuba race circuit. And I've seen this one from previous Super GT videos, and it's just absolute wreckfest central, punt central, because all the corners you have to basically rush into them. You have to dive into them so quickly, and it means that everyone dive bombs each other, everyone punts each other, and it's a bit of a mad one. But we move on. We won our first race. The leaders took each other out, and I just managed to get away. We move on to the second one, and this is the first time I'm actually racing against A-rated drivers in sport mode in Gran Turismo Sport. So this is going to be a real test for us to see if we can find our way through the field and keep up. We'll see whether we actually belong in an A-rated lobby. We've done really well up until this point up against B-rated drivers, but now racing against A-rated drivers, it's going to be a whole different kettle of fish altogether, or at least I'm kind of thinking in my mind it might be. It's been a decent start so far. P6, putting pressure on the top 5 here, the top 2, or maybe the top 3. But there's at least 2 A drivers in here, which we will endeavour to catch up with and have a little battle with. We go up the inside of the Spaniard into the hairpin, closes the door a little bit, but we just about get through there into the top 5, and we'll look to continue to march forward in this race as much as we can. Fast forwarding just to see our progress. You can see we're in the slipstream, so it's dragging us along and pulling us away from the cars behind. There's actually a bigger gap starting to open up behind me, so we do have a decent amount of pace, it seems, so far in this race. This is a fun little circuit. It really lends itself well to these kind of cars. We've now broken outside of 1.7 seconds, which is the crucial number on this game. That's where our slipstream really starts to kick in. So now that we've got outside of that 1.7 region, we should really start to pull away now. That is, unless these guys up ahead don't battle. But anyway, moving the brake ballast bias back towards the rear, just to help get a bit more rotation and hopefully give us a little bit more pace through these slower corners. You can see P3 and 4 are fighting away here. Let's see if we can get involved. We're heading on to the penultimate lap. The Spaniard is missing an apex here or there, so I'm hoping to get involved if I can, but it's when you get to this level, I guess, in Gran Turismo Sport now, the racing becomes a lot closer, and it's then harder to recover from bad qualifyings like I was in. And so you just have to work that much harder. That's what a lot of the racing is going to be like from now on my channel now, guys. So we're not going to have, well, I don't think we're going to have these amazing last to first recovery drives, but I could be wrong. Last lap of the Grand Prix, and we're still desperately trying to move up the order if we can. The A-rated drivers really haven't got away in this race, which has been very encouraging so far. But this is our last chance to have a go at the Spaniard, up the inside into the hairpin. I thought, you know what? It's the last lap. We've got a big lead to the cars behind. I just thought I'd send it. Didn't work out. I could have pressed on with a move, but it was an unfair lunge, and so I gave him back the position. And we end up in P4 by virtue of one of our fellow Brits just pulling off to the circuit and not wanting to finish off the race. I don't know, that was weird, but we now move on to race B in daily races. And this is one that I didn't practice for, really. I did a couple of qualifying laps, but overall I was a lot more underprepared for this one than what I was in the Mazdas, what I was just in. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, that last race, I mean, there's lots of little turning points, I've got to say, in all of these races that you're going to see today. The first of which being that last one is the fact that, yes, I can keep up with an A-rated driver. But then we just keep on ticking off these little milestones as we go along to the point where we actually start to beat some A-rated drivers later on in this video. But yeah, this is the B race in GT3 cars. I'm in the Audi R8. I am moving forward in this race, which is nice and encouraging. I think in the end we only finish in P4. We're trying to put some pressure on this other Audi R8, but I don't think it overly works out too well for us. He just about had enough pace to keep me at bay, although I'm still trying to put the pressure on. He runs out a little bit wide here, but then he covers it off rather nicely. I don't get a great exit out of there. I get caught up on the curb, and that really prevented me from having a nice go at him. But we are going to have one last ditch attempt to get past the Frenchman. Is it Italian? Oh, it's Italian. It's a green flag. Anyway, I tried to go around the outside there. Didn't quite work. We got pushed wide a little bit, and we never really got through. So it will be P4 in this daily race B. It's crucial that I just keep finishing well in all these races. My race number was number 12, and it's assigned to you based on your driver rating. So if I'm number 12, and if I finish anywhere above P12, my driver rating will go up. So that's just something I was endeavoring to do in every race I started off in daily races, just to finish better than where my race ranking was. But now this is daily race C. This is Laguna Seca. We're in Honda S2000s, and there's a lot of A-rated drivers in here, a couple of A-plus rated drivers in here. So if we can mix it with these guys, then our driver rating will go up massively. 5 red lights, and away we go for daily race C. I actually missed the start there because I was fiddling around with the traction control settings. Apparently moving it up into TCS1 is faster off the line. So that's what I was endeavoring to do, but it kind of didn't work out for me there. Turn 1. Wonderful. Absolutely got sent to the Shadow Realm. I really appreciate that. We'll get a replay and see what the hell happened. You can see I'm driving number 14, but I was up there in P5. It would have been a great way to finish and get some points, but it wasn't to be. We got absolutely sent by someone who just pinballed many other drivers out of the way along the road to sending me down to last. So that was fun. We move on to the end of the first lap, and we're already joining the back of the queue, trying to put pressure on P13 here, but to no avail. We'll have to wait possibly into this last corner. I think I might send it here because why the hell not? We have a lot of time and positions to make up. The guy on our outside kind of turned in a little bit early there, and that was why there was a weird camera shake, a bit weird bit of rotation from our car, so that explains that. These two going slowly. I did give him a bit of a bump, but to be honest, I actually helped him because I gave him forwards momentum. But either way, we move up into P11, and we'll hopefully set after the top 10. So there's no guarantee that we will move forward, but we seem to be catching these guys anyway, which is, again, another encouraging sign that we are, you know, mixing it with the top of B class and some A-rated drivers, which is always nice to see. But Laguna Seca, man, it's a track that can really catch you out. There's gravel traps everywhere. You can get stung for, you know, track limits. Cutting is a little hard to avoid at some places. Track extending, like the corkscrew, you can easily get done for corner cutting there. And as well, just getting bunted off by the other 19 lunatics that you might share the race with. But we seem to be going fairly well so far. Really in the pack now. It's P10 for us, and this is a tasty little train that we'll endeavour to get through on. Nearly setting the fastest up of the race as well, despite being in all of this traffic. We pretty much matched the previous fastest lap, which was a 45.2. Someone goes and does a 44.7. But regardless, P9, someone got sent off at turn 1. That's another position for us. We're going to go the inside of the Frenchman, and that is us up into 8th. A few Brits just up the road, so hopefully we can work in tandem to get through the order, giving the Portuguese driver a bit of a push as we run up the hill. Bump drafting is a good tactic around Gran Turismo Sport. If you don't really have the means to overtake someone, you can just give them a little push and that'll make them faster, and then you can continue to like slipstream them. It's something that you can't and shouldn't do on Formula 1 because you have a front wing and that thing is very delicate, and if you even think about touching the car ahead, it will break off. So enjoying the luxuries of touring car racing, that is for sure. But we're now in P6. Do we go for a dive bomb on the Portuguese driver? You bet we do. Up the inside into the final corner, and we get the move done. So now we find ourselves in a pretty handy position. Make that P4 as someone got absolutely sent at turn 1 once again. That seems to be an absolute war zone. But we are doing really well in this race. Like I said, we're racing against A-rated drivers, and the two leaders up there are A-plus drivers, which are amongst what you would expect to be, I don't know, up there with some of the best in the game. I know there's an S rating, driver rating as well, but there are still very, very quick A-plus rated drivers on this game. We pull off a move around the outside at the corkscrew, and that is us up onto the podium in this race, despite being absolutely blown up at turn 1. We have recovered to get P3 amongst A-rated drivers, and that has got to be one of the drives of my Gran Turismo career. That was such a good recovery for me. I was very, very happy to, slice and dice my way back through the field against really quick drivers. That gave me such a big ego boost, I guess. But we move on to the next one, and we're starting this one in P2. Hopefully we can have a good result in this one. We are car number 9, so even if we just finish in the top 3, that'd be a good boost in, driver rating. We negotiate the first lap, and the guy in the race lead ran out wide, and then he hits us off at the end of the first lap, demoting us down to P4. So, not fantastic. But we will endeavour to recover just like we did in the last race. We're not down and out just yet. We've got 11 laps to get back through the field, which is a long time in cars that are this slow. It's about a half an hour long race. So I wasn't counting myself out just yet. But then, after the loss of momentum, we got hit off again. And I just want to showcase kind of how unlucky we were in this whole exchange. So P3 here disrupts my run a little bit. I get a bad exit because of that. Then get hit by P5 behind. And then he gets bump drafted or pushed forward in momentum by P6, which then gives him extra momentum and then hits me wide off, and I drop down to P8 in the end. All because of the incident, which really stems on the end of lap 1 and then the start of lap 2 there. It was just a very unlucky escapade, but I was furious. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've qualified in P2. I've done such a good job. Pat on the back. Good job, Ben. Great job. Great job. But now, I'm pissed off. And I'm not taking anybody's crap anymore. So you can see the fight back continues once again. Gran Turismo, man. We're in S-rated lobbies. We're in S safety rating lobbies. But I don't feel very safe on the circuit. I feel like I could just get clouded by anyone at any time. But we finish in P3 in the end. We haven't had a clean race in Daily Race C so far. And I hope that can change in this one. 5 red lights. Race leader has jump started. He was like rolling backwards off the start. So that's not really the way you want to start. But we got to the lead. We didn't get taken out at turn 1, and believe it or not, we went on to win the race. Fancy that. Speedy Australian boy doesn't get held back, and he can finally show what he can do. We got 3 wins on the trot, amazingly. So that was a really good boost in driver rating. I think we're at the point where we're a couple of races away from getting A class. You can see this is my tracking of my score. So it's exponentially growing day by day, race by race, as we just continue to do well despite, some setbacks here and there. Despite, having, a bad start, we are still finishing around the top 5 or better in most of these races, which has been, quite lucky, to be honest. We could, even though we're having bad races, it still could be worse. And it might get worse in this one. Away we go. It's P10 off the grid. This was a good strength of field in this one. So we will have to have our wits about us if we want to continue to march forward. Driver number 14. So as long as he's finished where we are, we should, again, continue to march forward in terms of points. But we're hugging the inside at turn 1 because this is just the line to take, really. If you're out wide, it's very easy to lose spots. We make up a good couple of places there. We were at P7. We're placing full trust in the yellow cars to keep it off each other, and they don't do that. We are the victim of their incident, really. I didn't really do anything wrong there. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and we lost 3 places for nothing. But yeah, I really was sweating this one. I feel like out of the 3 daily races that were on offer this week, I was faring my odds better in this one. Because it's a longer race, I feel like I gel pretty well with this car and this track. I've done 200 laps at Laguna Seca recently. So it just makes sense that this is the one that I sweat in order to get my driver rating up to A, and then we can look at doing other things further on down the line. But we're continuing to march forward. You can see we're in P6 at the moment. Make that P5 as we get up the inside of the Italian. He does a really nice switchback here and makes me look like an absolute mug. He takes back P5, and this might be a battle worth savouring in this race. He is a little bit sideways, though, in the first sector. It's an area of the circuit which I was really strong at. I feel like some people aren't really too daring to get the car close to the red sausages, whereas I don't really care. Even if I run over the sausage, it doesn't really faze me. I really enjoy Laguna Seca. It's a track that's got so much character, especially with these sausage curbs and the gravel traps everywhere. It's so easy to get caught out, but there's so much reward for risking it and pushing the track limits that little bit more. We got the inside of this Greek driver. Notice he turns in very early, as if I'm not there. That didn't work out too well for him, and we end up in P4 in the Vegemite-mobile. So, yeah, getting that Vegemite sponsorship up here. We improve our qualifying time by a 10th, and it doesn't alter our starting position because it's still P10, just like it was in the last one. But I feel like the qualifying times continue to get better as my driver rating gets better. I keep getting matched up against better and better drivers. But keep note of that Greek driver. He is there's a reason why I zoomed in on that, because he was on a really good qualifying time, but his race pace for some reason is absolutely horrendous, and I have absolutely no idea why. Perhaps I need to improve my qualifying. I did a few qualifying laps here and there, but I don't know. I found it hard to best my previous qualifying times. But my race pace, there was no questioning my race pace or consistency. It was really good in all of these races. I didn't even get a penalty in any of them for track limits or nothing. So I'm well and truly a reformed boy, it seems. But in this race, again, we're caught on the outside, and we are the victim of another person's crash. We go from P7 to P10. You can't, P11, actually. You can't write this stuff. 2 races in a row where someone in front of me gets half spun, and I'm the one that loses out because of it. It's absolute bullcrap, man. But again, we will fight our way through, as we always do, mounting the curb at the final corner, up in a P8. again, I'm just fed up. I just want to have a good race. But, you know, it's what you got to do. I got to qualify better, really. So I think maybe after this one, I'll spend a bit more time in qualifying and trying to best that if I can. But at the moment, we've got to dig ourselves out of a risky situation. Someone up ahead has a penalty. We get kind of turned across by the Frenchman. But we get a net gain of 2 spots there. We have another Frenchman coming out of the woodwork to gain, what, 3 or 4 places there? Amazing exit from him. And he finds his way up in a P6. We got a bit of a tag there, though, from Evo Mix USA. But we still hold on to P7 at the moment. Good couple of races, it seems to be. And, you know, even though I'm complaining about, you know, the incidents or whatever, don't get me wrong, I was loving these races. The challenge of finding my way through the field, to just stay consistent, to stay composed, and to just not let these little setbacks affect you. We got a double overtake done there at turn 1. So that was nice. P4. The race leader, who is the Greek driver, has a penalty. And now here, I actually didn't want to overtake this guy because I saw his qualifying time. I saw he was really quick. He was leading the race. I didn't really want to overtake him. I just wanted to use a slipstream to, you know, work together and catch up to the 2 red race leaders. But it was weird, you know, because after he dropped into P3 here, he didn't really have great pace. I go and set a purple lap, but we're still about a second away from what my optimal fastest lap is. But yeah, it was really weird. Like, he was in the slipstream with these guys, but he kept making mistakes, or he didn't have any pace, oddly enough. Like, I was bump drafting him a lot over the course of the last 2 minutes leading up to this point, and he's just not really getting anywhere. And now we're getting caught by the driver behind, and I'm in a weird position now because I have to overtake him, I guess, but I thought he was fast. So we'll look to put some moves on him now, and we'll make the charge towards the leaders ourselves here as we go up the inside into the final corner. The gap is closing. Couldn't really outbrake him there. He was pretty late on the brakes there, to be fair. Out of the final corner. A bit of contact, which is my bad. But that kind of invites the Brit driver on our right-hand side to move up into P4. However, I don't think it's over yet. We have the inside for turn 1, which is the most important line to have. It's a double apex left-hander, and as long as you hug the inside, you should be fine. Much like in China, turn 1, Shanghai, the inside is just king. But again, we're pushing this guy. We're pushing him on. He's not getting anywhere. He's just really frustrating. If anything, the 2 race leaders are getting away. And I think the Greek has now lost slipstream to those 2 guys. So now I have to get in front of this guy and then endeavor to close the gap myself without slipstream. So we're trying to put the moves on now. We're, you know, working away, getting closer. The Greek has a bad run out of the first sector. And now this is our chance to strike. We're going to fake right and then go to the inside here. Notice he turns in slightly early. I mean, I don't think anyone's at fault here. I think that's just a fair racing incident and just a normal overtake, I guess. A little bit forceful. But the Greek really takes it personally and decides to ruin both of our races by doing that. So, I don't know. Make of that what you will. We just got absolutely sent there. I don't know what his problem is. It was a slightly forceful overtake. I mean, look at where the contact is made. And I'll freeze frame it where it actually happens. It's just a slight touch. And if anything, he turned across me. This is the point of contact. I'm pretty far over to the left. Like, what more can I do? And that's my reward for moving forward in the race. I just don't understand. He could have just pressed on and followed me through in P3. We were going to catch up to the leaders because I felt like we had the pace. But now because he's retaliated, he's now in P6. He's got another penalty. And now to add to that, he's going to get fucked off into the sand trap. So I hope you enjoy that nice slice of humble pie. Your, I don't know. Your attitude there has just ruined your own race. You absolute dickhead. P5, again, this is an okay race. We still move up in terms of driver rating. I didn't get any penalty for that, and I didn't have any loss of safety rating either. So the penalty system is a bit, how you going at this stage? But like I said, in the last race, you know, qualifying isn't strong enough at this point. So in between the race that you just saw and the next one, we have a gap of about 6 minutes. So that's what I was utilizing to have a couple of qualifying laps here. You can see, actually, we only get 2 or 3 laps of this. So this is what we're trying to do. We're going to see if we can get like a low 43, or dare I say it, maybe even a 42. But I got to say, I didn't think a 42 for me was possible. But after doing this lap, I feel like maybe it is. We move the brake bias towards the rear by another click. I could even move it back to maybe 3 or even 4. But that might be something I could look at after this video. But we're looking pretty good at this stage. We're up by, you know, a 10th. It's not actually my best lap. Like, I feel like there was a couple of small mistakes here or there. I could have maximized, you know, certain elements of the track a little bit more. So with these small little mistakes in mind, I think I probably could get a 42 on a really good lap, which is very encouraging. We're coming through to the final couple of corners, and we're just making sure that we hold the lap together. We've got 5 seconds to finish off this lap before the next lobby starts. And time is up now, but I can still set my time, and I was just praying that the game didn't whisk me away to the next lobby before I cross the line. We do cross the line, and it's a 43.133, and right there was the cutoff. So we only just got that in by a matter of a couple of seconds, which means we start from P2 in this race. With our previous best, we would have been starting around P7, and so we have a good starting point for this race, and I am so ready to move up in A class. We're actually sitting at driver rating 29,000, so a good race here, and we'll be A rated. So I was highly motivated to do well in this one. All that stands between us and A is the other 19 guys on this track. Just hope that they don't take me out, I guess. We give the race leader a bit of a touch there. That was actually unintentional, but that little push has resulted in us moving up into the lead of the race. I did feel a little bit bad about that at the time, and I thought I'll give you the place back later on. It's just like in the heat of the moment, the pack was very much on us, and if I let him go there, I could have potentially fallen into the clutches of someone else and got hit off. So I just didn't worry about it. But we came to lap 3 and 4. I set a fast lap of the race, and he actually made a big mistake, and we never really saw him again. So that was the race, really. We cruised to the end after that fastest lap, and we win our final race as a B-rated driver. We have done it. We are no longer a pleb on Gran Turismo Sport, and that is you guys fully caught up to everything that has happened to me over the last few days on this game. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. I'm really happy to be A-rated driver now because I can do so much more. I can race against really solid people in, you know, not only daily races but FIA races. I can, hell, get into like Keys lobbies, who's a streamer on GT Sport. I can possibly even race with Steve now that I'm A. I can, you know, start to race some of the really quick boys. And yeah, this has been a real turning point, and I hope that I can continue to build upon this. There's still a lot of improving to go. Like, qualifying needs to be worked on, and there's just a few techniques here and there that I still need to continue to work on over, you know, my time in playing on this game. But that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.